You're listening to the Greening Out podcast. This show contains profanity, hate for the state, and themes of a libertarian nature. If you are easily offended, please listen to something else. For more, visit greeningoutpodcast.co.uk. Hi, I'm Caity Green.
Hi, I'm Dan Green. Welcome back to the Greening Out podcast.
Yeah, welcome back to another episode.
Yes, indeed.
So, Dan and I, just to jump right in at the deep end, speaking of deep end sea segue.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. Swastikas in swimming pools.
Swastikas in swimming pools.
I feel like maybe, are we jumping in too soon?
No, I don't think so. That's another jumping in.
I can't stop.
But yeah, no, I was on the Telegraph website, and it's actually on a lot of different
I
websites.
thought you were going to say I was on the telly. I was like, you're a liar.
Or I was on an actual Telegraph. I was on the Telegraph.
I was on the Telegraph, eh? Okay, go.
Okay, so, and this thing said it's on the Telegraph website, it said giant swastika found in Brazil swimming pool, right?
All right.
So basically,
as you do.
Oh yeah, right. Basically in Brazil, there was, the police were, something to do with a kidnapping case, and
sure.
They were flying over these houses, and they spotted this big house with a swimming pool, and see, like, it's like in the tiles in the bottom of the swimming pool, it's just a big black swastika.
Wow. Well, it takes balls because, like, the only people that
They
are
probably
really...
thought nobody was going to see it,
But to be fair, the only people that will see it is, like, military aircraft, probably.
Google Earth.
You know, the police helicopters and stuff, Google Earth. So maybe it's
Google Earth.
more of a statement. Like, maybe that makes more of an impact than wearing a fuck authority badge on your backpack as you shop in the city centre of your whatever town you're in.
But do you see, that was alright, that fine. This weird guy's got a swastika in his swimming pool, right?
And we just thought about the actual meaning of it.
Well, actually, see, now, like, it says, giant swastika found in Brazil swimming pool, right?
Yes.
That's the headline. But the line underneath it is, Brazilian police release photograph of Nazi symbol, but say owner will not be prosecuted. Right? And this just brings me back to this. I've talked about this before, but it really kind of gets in my nerves right now. I'm no apologist for the Nazis, right?
This is what really grinds his gears.
This is what grinds my gears, right?
Right, go.
I am no apologist for the Nazis in any way, shape, or form,
I know
right?
that.
Or the National Socialists, whatever you want to call them, right?
Right.
The point is, the swastika is illegal in some countries, and in some countries that it's not illegal, and it's like if you walk down the street wearing a swastika t-shirt, you'd get lynched, right?
Yeah.
The swastika's an ancient symbol. It goes way back. It was used in many different religions. The Hindus still use it, right?
I
know people have talked about this before, but it really does get in my nerves, right? Because you can walk about, and I've seen people walking about with like hammer and sickle t-shirts and stuff like that.
That's
you know,
highly
and you see
fashionable now.
you see people at protests and stuff like that waving hammer and sickle flags, and way more people died, you know, under the Bolsheviks, you know, than did under Nazi Germany, and it's gets in my nerves, man.
You do see like hammer and sickle stuff in a lot of places, you know, high street stores.
There used to be a restaurant chain, I don't know if they're still in business, but they were called Mao.
Well, no, there's one called Block, and it's in the city centre of Glasgow.
Oh yeah, and
they've got a hammer and sickle.
Yeah. But the one I was thinking
there
of was
a place called Mao.
And it had pictures of Chairman Mao everywhere.
Yeah.
And that guy killed a lot of people.
Yeah. Is that place still going?
I don't know, actually. That's what I said. I'm not sure.
It's one of those things I should probably look up.
There was ones in different cities. But
it's weird. It's out of the ordinary.
But it's like some things you can talk about, and then some things you can't. Not. But like, here's the point anyway, right?
Let's talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about.
But see, this is why the fact that they would even put in this, you know, will not be prosecuted, because then what you're doing is you're letting the government tell you what symbols you're allowed to use and what ones you aren't.
Very Orwellian.
It's incredible. Yeah, you know, and then like, oh, you can't use this symbol. It has been forbidden by us.
I know.
I mean, you're joking. It's what, like, how many lines is it? Do you know?
Well, this brings us to prohibition.
Yeah, well,
when you prohibit
we talk
things,
about prohibition all the time, but it really pisses us off.
Oh, it really grinds my gears. I'm taking it back. It's okay.
No, you're taking it back. It never went
anywhere.
It
never went. I don't think it went anywhere. No, it really annoys me about prohibition. Speaking of prohibition, I know something.
Do you know something?
I know.
You know something?
I have knowledge.
Tell me what you know.
Within my brain.
Okay. Why don't you share it with us?
December 5th. Yesterday was the 5th of December, and that's the anniversary of the end of prohibition in the United States.
Of alcohol prohibition?
1933, it ended alcohol. It went on since 1920.
It went well, didn't it?
It obviously went well. I mean, we didn't end up with cartels. We didn't end up with
Al Capone, gangsters,
a black
speakeasies.
market and a lot of crime and stuff. No, we didn't end up with that at all.
So we're kicking off with the libertarian portion.
Yeah, the libertarianness is coming out of us. It seeps from me like some kind of a...
See as well what I think is a kind of deeper problem. See the fact we talk about, like, you know, you're not allowed in some countries, you're banned from wearing a swastika or whatever. Not that, like I said, not that I want to.
Like,
right? But like, see the fact that you are banned from doing that, right? And people just accept that. People and then people.
But where does it end?
People say things like that should be banned, like that, you know. And
I don't like that.
Well, where does that end exactly? Because
well, did you know that in North Korea recently, anybody named Kim Jong-un, they have to change their name now because there can only be one.
There can only be one.
No, seriously, yeah, that's true. I thought it was just interesting. I just saw that the other day.
But see, this is the thing, because it's a slow creep towards a police state, because this brings me to like another article that I was looking at. And it's this chief constable
I remember that.
in the UK, and he's been warning against the drift towards what he calls a drift towards a police state. It's Greater Manchester's Sir Peter Fahey. You know, and basically, I'll include the article in the show notes.
Yeah.
But there's all this talk about, you know, between free speech and what defines extremism, what defines what they call hate speech. You know, a wee excerpt here is it said, he said that government, academics and civil society need to decide where the line fell between free speech and extremism. Otherwise, he warned, it would be decided by the security establishment, so-called securocrats, including the security services, government and senior police chiefs like Fahey. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's
I mean,
scary.
if anybody would know, he would, you know.
That's the thing, because then what becomes a terrorist? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like,
is it not the definite? I'm gonna need to verify, but it's not like something that goes against the.
No, well, there's been different definitions of terrorism and stuff, but
what's the most current one? Let's use the most up to date one.
No, the thing is, they keep redefining because it depends. It's arbitrary. It's on a whim. You know, like they could decide tomorrow that. I mean, look. If you take our political views and contrast them with those of, like, say, mainstream politicians, we would be considered extremists.
Because we're so cool. Yeah, string that.
Not least because we want to get rid of the government. Well, I think that would get you an extremist label. You know, if that wouldn't work well. But but there's the point. But like, then what happens if they suddenly decide that it's not that these Muslims are extremists anymore? Now we're extremists, you know. Now what if libertarianism becomes a bigger thing in the UK, and then all of a sudden, now you're the problem, well, domestic terror. I mean, I'm not being paranoid.
People say, and you know what's so funny? Because the argument of, well, if it was such a good idea, people would have done it by now. See, the reason it's not happened, it puts politicians out of a job. They're quite cushy. You may have noticed.
No.
They're not really going to support something. They're not going to vocally support something that puts them out of a job. I would not come out tomorrow and go, yes, medicine dispensing, pharmacy working robots should become a mandatory thing in this country, because then I'll be out of a job. But I'm waiting until that time does come, because it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's going to be weird, man. I don't know. In my head, it's like a Philip K. Dick film adaptation. See, incredibly dramatic.
This is the thing, because they're saying, like, in some articles in different places, they're saying we could have the thought police. You've already technically got the thought police, because
social media,
there's certain things you can't say.
Oh yeah, no, there's words like you just. If I said a certain word right now, I can.
Yeah, and there's debates you can't have, and it's considered hate speech. This actually brings me to. I did an article ages ago. If you're playing the Greening Out drinking game,
take a shot. I think it's one.
I can't remember exactly what the article was called, because I don't pay that much. Anyone that's read them knows I don't pay that much attention to them. Dan
writes an article, puts it up, and then goes, "Oh yeah."
No, it was that time that there was those Christian B&B owners.
Oh,
in
that
England.
refused to serve the gay couple?
They refused to give a gay couple like
a room for a night.
Yeah, right.
I
Now,
don't agree with them, but it's their right to say that. They own the property, yeah.
Neither of us are Christians, right?
No.
And neither of us have any problem with gay people whatsoever, you know, but I think to make it, because the couple ended up getting ruined and stuff. Like they had lawsuits taken against them,
bashed,
and it happened more than once, this kind of thing. And the thing is, it's their property, and surely, I mean, even though I think that's bullshit, and I think it's daft,
wrong.
I think it's bullshit. Why not? Who cares? They're consenting
but
adults.
I don't
let
think
them do
you
what
should,
they want.
Yeah, but I don't think you should bring in laws that say that people have to.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's their property. Just let them do what they want in their property, as long as they're not like aggressively. I mean, if they politely said to them, "No, look, not here."
Yeah.
Then fine. But like, it's just this thing of like what used to be.
We all need to be on the one level.
We all need to
evenness and equality, and everybody. I'm not saying I sound like such an arsehole though when I say it, and that's what's so funny about it because
that's what people would think.
People would automatically you're automatic. It's like a flinch. It's like, oh no, you can't say that, you know. But when you really think about it, it was that couple's home. It was their property. It was what belongs to them, and
they should be allowed to decide what to do in their own property, regardless. Even if we think that's bullshit, well, that's up for us to think that. And then if enough people think that's bullshit, then they'll lose a big market. You know, they'll lose a lot of business.
They're going to lose a lot of business. So they would have lost business whether we made a big thing of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no need to. There's no need to involve the government in it. There's no,
you guys have to make a law that
take people
says
to court and stuff. This is the problem of people outsourcing their violence to the government all the time. It's like, I'm non-violent, so I called the police. No, you just basically grabbed this guy and said, I wanted that guy to do my violence for me. I don't want to do the violence myself.
To be fair though, I mean, there are some people, and this is why I think it should be all quite voluntary. There are people, who don't want to do the violent thing, but that's why private security is a thing. It doesn't need to involve laws passed by a government and enforced by people that come to your home and, violently take you away. It doesn't need to be done that way. It's so funny when you say it like that because it sounds so logical, and yet people argue with you endlessly about it.
But it sounds so weird that, because I think we all I don't know about you, but I kind of grew up thinking the government was a good thing, and I think most people probably do. I
think unless you're raised by particular anarchists or extremists or people who firmly disagree with the government, I don't think we've ever seen a generation like this of people who have been so anti-government. Because even when you had, when you hear about, the whole hippie thing, they weren't, anti-government, they were anti-war.
What's interesting is, there's a lot of people, I can't remember the guy's name, I'll try and link it up, but some people have, talked about, before the sort of hippie movement started, you had these kind of anti-war protests, and these guys, weren't hippies, man. These guys were, college students and stuff like that.
Intelligent people.
Yeah, and they were very political and very anti-war. And then the theory is that the CIA, this is the theory, I'm not saying, but...
Dan, put your tinfoil hat away.
Let me put my tinfoil hat on for 2 minutes. It's not my theory, I'm just saying I've heard it. The theory is that the CIA helped push the movement, that anti-war movement, towards mysticism and drugs to take them away from political action. Sure. Whether that's true or not, I still think of the South Park thing.
Yeah.
When, if you remember, they go to the hippie festival with him and they ask him, it's Stan, he says, the hippie guy says, so what are we doing? He's like, we're changing the world through the power of music. And he goes, you've just sat around and smoked pot for 4 days.
Exactly. I've heard that marijuana can make you very lazy. That's a thing I've heard about it.
You still think it should be legal?
But I still think it should be completely, it should be decriminalized. There shouldn't be any criminal aspect to it, along with any other drugs. So, we
talk about that all the time.
We do.
But it's important.
What was I talking about? Yes, I've heard it makes you lazy. So it would make sense that the CIA would, if they were going to do anything, it would be to
subvert a certain movement.
Yeah, they're going to be too wasted to do anything, right?
See, and
that's like today's youth. They're all too drunk.
And I did make a comment about mysticism and stuff, and I've been very interested in mysticism for a long time. And read a lot of books on it and done some sort of practice on it.
You've been open about that, yeah.
And I'm quite interested in mysticism, but there is certain schools of mysticism, and there's certain schools of, it's more like New Age thought. And it's more like, you should just not resist. You should just, don't worry about all this that's going on. Just you focus on you internally. And I do think you need to change yourself before you change anything else. But I don't think you can ignore, violence that's being perpetrated every day by states all over the world. I don't think you can shut yourself off and go, don't be negative, man. It's cool.
I've known people like that. And so have you, people who just go, do you know what? It's not affecting me and I'm just going to just let it happen because whatever.
I've heard people that are kind of like that.
Technically, I am letting things happen, but look, there's not much I can do. I feel that this is the way I can do it for us to talk about things and to talk to other people, communicate with people.
Yeah, you shouldn't get like totally distracted about things you can't control, or you can't change. Bill Buford talks about that when he talks about stoicism. He talks about how you shouldn't get too worked up about something that's out with your span of control.
Because I think there's probably a name for that, kind of a mental thing where you get really, really, really upset because you see that some people have died in the news. But is there not a thing where is that just overreacting?
Not that you shouldn't feel upset, but you have to do what's within your control.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is what's interesting. See this whole, and there is I think there is definitely a place for positive thought, right? Of course. Yeah. But see these people that want to be positive, and I've met New Age people like this and they want to be positive all the time. Anytime you say anything remotely negative, they all go, oh, that's negative, man. It's so negative. But see, if you actually read a lot of these old sort of mystical texts, they always talk about balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, balance. So surely the balance is the positive and the negative. That's what the yin and yang symbol, is. It's a balance of positive and negative. So then if you're just saying, let's not be negative, let's be positive all the fucking time, then all that is just, you're completely out of balance. You're
if I'm not mistaken, you have to have positive and a negative.
Well, of course.
I don't know. In science, can you have two positives? I was never good at that at all. I can't really remember.
We've already turned this into a metaphysical podcast.
Oh my god.
Into a science podcast.
Let's go back. Okay, back to libertarianism.
We hate the government,
Yeah. Boo, boo.
Boo government.
Boo government.
No more government.
It's getting silly, so.
Yeah. It was serious there for a while. It got a bit metaphysical.
Well, we were talking about, I know you've been very open about your interest in that. I don't have a lot of experience in that, so. I'm not too fussed at the moment. That sums up.
Do you remember there was a time when Ozzy Osbourne was on a chat show in Britain? I can't remember which one it was, but he said to him, the interviewer said to Ozzy Osbourne, he said, do you have a spiritual side? And he said, I used to. It was called vodka.
That tickles your funny bone.
I like that.
It does. It was good. It's good banter. Joke. That's good. I like that. All right.
Now, see if I could lighten things up. I say lighten things up. In my sense of
Let's lighten things up by talking about
Asteroid Day.
Oh, yay, end of the world.
Well,
okay, go.
Oh, no, here's the thing, right? Because, I'm not a big holiday guy. You know what I mean? I'm not really.
You?
I'm not really big on Christmas or birthdays or anything like that. Well, I know birthday's not a holiday, but you know what I mean? It's sort of like...
Dan doesn't like his birthday. It's a sore subject.
Actually,
it's cancelled this year.
Last year, you came home and I was already home from work and you went, are you in a bad mood? And I just looked at you and you went, yeah, you're in a bad mood.
And I just walked away and I just thought, it's that day. And I just,
But here's a holiday I could get behind.
Okay, go.
Okay, so a lot of people want to make June 30th Asteroid Day.
Now tell me, Dan, what does Asteroid Day kind of celebrate? What's the point?
Okay, right. It's not right. It's important to mention that it's not when we're going to die from an asteroid strike. June the 30th next year.
It's not what you think it is.
Yeah. It's when we're all going to think very hard about the fact that we're all going to die as the result of an asteroid strike.
No. Can I just bring up a really, really good point, right? See if we're made to have a day dedicated to, romantic cards and stuff. Let's have a day dedicated...
Yeah, that uses a saint's name for no fucking reason.
Let's have a day that, you have to think about and accept your impending death. And then, you don't have to start celebrating it until you're like 18. Oh wait, no, I sound like the government. No, you can celebrate it whenever you want.
No.
Okay. No,
they think the reason, well, according to this article I'm reading, I'm in the Huffington Post here.
Boo.
The reason why, it said, in that date in 1908, around 800 square miles of forest in Tunguska, Siberia, was destroyed by an asteroid strike, and scientists believe a similar impact now could wipe out an entire city. But see, this is interesting, right? Because maybe this would start off, as they say, like, it's people like, Brian Cox, the scientist.
He's alright.
Brian May from Queen, he's got like
the two Brians.
doctorate or something like that. There's a lot of people.
Something.
And he's into astronomy and all that. I almost said astrology.
You almost said the wrong
almost
one.
Get sued by Brian May. Under pressure. But like... No, but like, yeah, it would maybe start out as this day of somber reflection of why we should all love each other, because we could all be dead from an asteroid at any minute. Because let me hit you with a scary but harrowing fact. Apparently, and I've got no way to verify this, but apparently 1 million asteroids in the solar system could hit Earth, but only 10,000 of them have been discovered. Right, so it would start off as this day of sober reflection on our mortality and the fact that we are just tiny, tiny things on this massive spinning rock hurtling through space at incredible speed. But you know what it would end up at in 10 years?
What?
People getting steaming like there was no other day. People would just go out and get as drunk as possible.
Yeah,
and they would treat it like tomorrow doesn't exist.
Yeah, you'd be like, you know what?
Day, man, it's cool.
It's cool, man. It's like the world's gonna end tomorrow. I want to live like I'm dying. I want to do it.
Happen.
But I think that would lead to a lot of self-indulgence.
Well, exactly. That's the whole point. It would start off as a somber reflection on mortality,
and then I think it would snowball into something.
You would get pubs and clubs doing like asteroid day deals.
Asteroid special.
Because you could be dead tomorrow. You could be dead tomorrow, so here's a pint for half price. That's
what they would do.
Yeah.
That's
maybe
a big marketing ploy, though.
Oh, exactly. I've just made someone millions and they don't even know it yet.
They don't even know it yet. They probably don't even care.
But that's the thing, but
there's a certain level of, look, this isn't going to last forever, so you might want to make something of your time here.
Yeah, because at any rate, if an asteroid never hit the Earth, right, eventually the Earth as the sun gets bigger, as it starts to die,
it's going to burn out.
It would
nothing lasts forever.
Consume the Earth anyway. I guess a big deal. I know we're lightening things up.
I think the Earth is actually relatively still quite young. I think, and I don't mean that in a creationist way. Jesus, no.
I was looking at you.
You were like, "What? Is she a secret creationist?" No,
are you?
No. I think we're at a really interesting time. That was ambiguous.
It was a bit vague.
I know.
A bit weird.
It was a bit weird. Probably nothing behind it. I'm just talking, just saying words, not even making sense. No, I just think that we're young in a way of technology and what we could do.
Well, the internet's in its infancy, surely.
That's what I mean. So I just think a lot of things are still in there, working out the kinks and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's pretty
and it's exciting to see it all kind of happening. These are things I think people will talk about and, a way in the future where someone's found this on a weird looking mini disc washed up ashore of some dystopian nightmare.
I think
it's gone dark again. Right, can we turn it back around? Can we lighten it up?
We can turn it back.
I've drawn a picture that is going to be the picture for this podcast.
No, it's not.
Oh, is it not? I've drawn a cartoon and now Dan's just giving it.
How are you going to get it on the computer?
I will take a photo of it with my phone, sir.
Okay, then you win.
Granted.
We don't own a scanner, so
I'm not rich. You can buy your own scanner.
Okay, well, I've ranted about this before, but screw it. If you want to lighten things up, I can lighten it up, right? Steve Brookstein or Brookstein.
Sure.
Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Neither did I. Apparently, he's the first guy that won the X Factor in Britain.
Well, there you go.
And if anyone in another country, it's like
I think every country has the X Factor or a version, like American Idol kind of thing.
Something's got, well, no, they
Something
got
has
talent, things
talent.
different because that's more of a variety show, but, you know, the X Factor's just a
Pop Idol Factor, you know, that sort of a Simon Cowell thing.
This guy's writing some kind of book, well, he's written some kind of book. You know, I didn't read much about it because I'm not that interested in what he's got to say, to be perfectly honest. But I sound terrible today. I'm just not interested in this guy.
Look, I don't care what you have to say. Leave me alone.
No, but the point is, because I've been going on a lot about culture because it's been getting on my nerves ever so slightly.
It's really been getting on your wick lately.
It has. My wick has been getting on somewhat.
Yes. Up with this I will not put.
Up with this I will not put, right?
Right, go. That was a Black Books reference.
Yeah,
that's not ours.
Yeah. We're not claiming
no,
references.
I would never
ours.
say that. I would always quote.
But,
go.
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? It's how can you imagine, right, if Bob Dylan went on X Factor or American Idol or whatever? Can you imagine? Yeah. Can you imagine that for a second? Or like Neil Young or something? Can you imagine? Yeah. Man, they'd laugh him out of there. They'd be like, you think you're going to be famous? Are you kidding me on?
Yeah.
You know, because it's just, it's like, you can listen to people do these daft vocal gymnastics. Like,
Warning. Dan is turning into a music snob right now. Warning.
See all these vocal gymnastics, or whatever the fuck they do. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not real. It's not real. It's all fake and artificial. And I have said before that embracing artificiality can be good.
It can
but these
be awesome.
people aren't, because the people I've seen on these
they
shows,
think they're the
really
realest things in the world.
And do you know what the thing that bothers me is? You get these people who are actual musicians, right, who have toured the shitty clubs, they've been booed off stages, they've been heckled, they've done the hard work, and they've got to where they are, right? But then you get these delinquents.
These youths.
Yeah, you do, who are like 19 and stuff, and they've not actually, sang at clubs. They've maybe done karaoke or sang at their pal's party or something. But
do you think it's it's like a rite of passage?
I do, because then they get put on TV, and then all of a sudden they think they're Jesus fucking Christ.
No, but do you think that's more of a
Diana fucking Ross?
Do you think that's more of a reflection on how our generation is, though, like with the Facebook, with Facebook and Twitter, like people think that they're more important than they are. Like me doing this podcast,
like nutters
I can just do media whenever I want. But see, I think that's pretty cool.
It's got a good side and a bad side, in my opinion.
Because don't forget, you and I didn't have to slug it out to try and get on radio. We didn't. We didn't live in a time where. We had these sort of.
We would never go on radio now. Never mind back then.
Oh yeah, anyway. No, it's still not going to happen. I'm just kind of. I'm not saying that people that are chosen on the reality TV are shit necessarily. I just think it's a shitty system of music where it's like what's hot instead of what is real and what is good.
I'll tell you what, man. There's been like
what is organic.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I do know what you mean. Like what people actually like. Because music should be an expression of something, something real inside you.
It should be. Yeah.
Whether it's like
I don't like the word should
or joyful or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah,
that's the whole point. But all I see in these fucking shows, right, is not only like the playground bully tactics, especially now, these auditions used to take place in a little room with like 4 judges. And now it's in front of I don't know what it's been recently, I've not seen it in years, but the last time I watched it was in front of a big fuck off room of people. And like, you were just like, man, it was like kids bullying someone in a school playground sometimes.
Do you know? No, it is. So? That's exactly what it is.
It's disgusting. I know I've talked about it before, and I wrote an article.
It's entertainment value.
Take a shot if you're playing the Greening Out drinking game.
Yeah, it's.
Which I'm sure you are.
Of course, our 5 or 6 listeners. I think we might have had one new one since last week. So high fives, yes.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I understand what you're saying. Yes, it's.
But then we talk about the free market as libertarians, and there is a market for this crap.
People seem to eat it up. People really like it. I don't know if it's a weird voyeuristic thing. there's a lot of kind of reality shows going around. If you actually assess what the majority of the television that's on during the day.
Well, see if you remember Big Brother, right? See when Big Brother started in this country.
It was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, because I was quite young at the time, but I remember watching it, and it was like a social experiment, and that's the way it was presented, and that's the way 14. It was billed.
I was 14, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like a social experiment.
Yeah.
But see, now it's just like, let's find all the most nuts people we can.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and let's just put them in a room so like monkeys in a cage so everyone can point and laugh at them. And the tabloid newspapers will have something to fucking write about.
I know. I feel like we're kind of ranting though about what's wrong.
We are a bit ranting. Well, let's say what's right, okay? There has been good stuff going on. The fact that it's a double-edged, like I said, it's a double-edged sword on this kind of thing that anyone can make their own media. There's been great media. You know, I've seen great movies by libertarians. I like the work of David Kirk West. Yeah. His movies are great, you know.
Occam's Razor was really good. I enjoyed it.
Joy Camp as well, you know.
Joy Camp are funny.
You know, they take the piss out of, like, they are sort of, they sort of, it's conspiracy themed, a lot of their, and they're quite funny.
I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. Like, I remember you showed me some stuff, not super duper recently, but it was a few months ago.
But like, that's the point, you know, like, it is a double-edged sword, because in this way now, you're going to see a lot of... The word propaganda is like a dirty word, right? Because people think of the Nazis and stuff, but the Americans and the British had propaganda going on. And see if you... Again, we were talking about Emma Goldman in the last show.
I love talking about her.
And there's a portion in Anarchy and Other Essays when she basically says our propaganda has to be stronger than theirs. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, because when me and you sit here and we talk about the free market and stuff. And
this is propaganda.
It is propaganda in a way, because you'd be...
That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be nuts to say otherwise, but it's not like... It's just how it never used to be such a bad thing. It just used to be, here's what it is from our perspective.
And this is our propaganda. And it's really interesting. I do love, I remember when Emma Goldman said that. I can't remember.
You don't actually remember.
I wasn't
You remember
there.
Reading that.
I'm not a time traveler.
How old are you? Because you look pretty darn good.
Right. I really I have a lady boner for Emma Goldman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
and it's worth noting, I believe it was Emma Goldman that said if voting changed anything, they would make it illegal.
Ha ha ha.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? Nice thing about with this guy.
Yeah.
And I won't say his name, right? But like, I like a lot of bands, you know, that like, sort of, I don't want to sound like I'm so cool and alternative, but you know, like a lot of underground bands and stuff like that. I like that.
But
kind of music.
you liked it before it was kind of cool. Like, for our generation anyway.
Yeah.
When we were young.
Yeah, like...
You were not cool.
I was not cool.
No.
But anyway, I had this friend, and what he said was, he went, oh, these bands you're talking about, like, he wouldn't even listen to them, because he was like, well, they can't. He was a big U2 fan, that was his band, and he loved Coldplay, right?
Coldplay.
But the whole thrust of his argument was, if they were as good as you say they are, then more people would listen to them.
That's the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
Because you know what that is? That's just an absolute disconnection from society. Because see, I mean, like I said, like in work, I was listening to this. They put this, what they call a hit music station on.
Ew.
And fuck me, man. It was
it
was terrible, man. But like, and it's just all the same.
Can we not just say the name of the station? Because everybody knows it's shit.
Right, it's Capital FM. And
Capital FM.
Capital FM, yeah, because it's terrible. I mean, this guy in the morning, he's like, oh, he's Capital. But like,
no, he doesn't talk like that. We've had this conversation.
He doesn't talk like that, but that's how I hear it in my head, and I think that's more important.
But I mean, that does pose the question. I mean, if you got offered the chance, though, to be on one of these crappy radio stations, would you even take it for the experience?
I don't know, but then, you know, like it would all go silent and then I'd be hanging from the...
Oh, that just got bleak. Jesus, right. Turn it round. Jeez, right. Turn the car round. Let's go back to happy places.
This whole idea that like, oh yeah, if someone's so good, then they'll have so many fans.
It's a crapshoot.
It's rubbish, man.
It's how it's sort of organised. I mean, One Direction now, I remember, they're really, really, really popular. For some insane reason.
I love them.
I want to be them. No, he really doesn't love them. They're awful. But I will say that they were very, very sort of put together. We watched that year. We were kind of weird, different people back then, and we watched it the year that they were on as little kids.
But
I feel like
we weren't little kids, right?
No, they were
little kids.
But
I was going to say,
when I look at one of them now and go, he's kind of hot, I feel like a paedophile because they're really Dan. They're babies, like they're really young.
You feel like a paedophile.
I do. Like when I look at one of them.
Oh man!
Do you know who made some good music?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Manson.
Charles Manson did make some good songs. Guns N' Roses covered one.
Yeah,
Seeing the Spaghetti Incident album, they covered Look at Your Game Girl, and
that's a great song.
It actually is, to be fair. He hung out with Brian Wilson, Beach Boys.
For the Beach Boys?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like the Beach Boys. I was brought up on Beach Boys.
You were a Beach Boys diet when your Vancouver youth.
In my Vancouverite youth.
Vancouverian.
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 Vancouverian?
Vancouverite, I believe.
A Vancouverite?
Vancouverite. You should know this.
I know. I should. I feel quite shameful. No, I think it's a Vancouverite. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Yeah, some music's pretty shit now. But you know what? I don't know. I don't like talking about it too much. But
then it does bring you, I mean, seeing your more conspiratorial moments, your tinfoil hat moments, you know, you have to wonder. And I know people have been talking about this for years. I mean, you can even go back to the great old Bill Hicks comedy, and he's talking about the media dumbing everyone down.
Yeah.
You know, so it goes way back. So we're not seeing anything new. But it just seems like it gets worse and worse. And you have to wonder, I mean, there must be some level of deliberateness to that. Because do you know why I think that? Here's why. Because see, if I was in charge,
Hopefully that's not.
Well, if I was in charge, then I would immediately relinquish my control and let people do what they like.
Anyway,
say I was in charge, so to speak.
Okay, go.
And I was one of these statists who wanted to control everyone.
Yes.
I'd want people to be on welfare, because at least even people that work to a degree, whether it's credits for anything,
you need to depend.
I've got a level of control over them. Yeah. I would also want the media and the culture to be dumbing people down, because if I had a nation of free, independent thinkers who could make their own way in the world, I would be, as if I was a ruler, like one of these evil fucking psychopathic statist rulers, and I had a nation of critically thinking, intelligent individuals, I would be fucking terrified. I would want a nation of sheep who just...
Of course you would.
Yeah, of course, man. That's why people say, isn't it?
I
think
kind
that's a conspiracy. Well, put yourself in their shoes. That's what I'd want.
Yeah. It's not what you actually want. It's what you would if you were a psychopath.
Yeah, if I was one of these crazy statist rulers in government, that's what I would want in that case.
Like David Cameron or somebody like that's who that is. Basically, he's our ruler.
But any one of them, man.
Anyone. Just pick one.
Pick anyone. Pick anyone you don't like.
Ed Balls. We have a guy. We have a guy called Ed Balls.
Ed Balls.
Ed Balls. No, just when you were talking about music there, I just want to bring up a point. A really, really good film about subliminal messaging in modern pop music is Josie and the Pussycats. Now, you laugh at me. Josie and the Pussycats was a cartoon in Archie Comics. As far now to my,
you talking about the movie with Alan Cumming?
Yeah, it was a great film.
I watched it with you.
Yeah, you did. It was funny, right?
Me. I was on the couch beside you.
Remember me? Hello.
I was right beside you.
I was too engrossed in the film, Dan.
She had no idea I was there.
No, I don't even know. You're like furniture now. I don't even know you're there.
I'm like a lamp.
You're like a lamp.
Like a lamp in the corner.
I love lamp.
Like a forgotten lamp in the corner.
You're like an old pen. Pushed aside.
An old pen that's not run out yet, so you don't throw it out.
And you like it because it's familiar. Okay, this is weird. Can we stop? You have to stop laughing because it's overtaking me.
You have to stop making me laugh.
Okay.
So you were saying
this has been a lesson.
We're talking about Josie and the Pussycats. Yeah. Subliminal messaging. I'll get you back on track.
Josie and the Pussycats was a really, really funny movie about subliminal messaging in modern pop music and how it's all used by the CIA and stuff. It was quite funny. I'm not saying take it as a piece of, genius or anything, but there's a certain bit in the film where he comes across this young woman who's like, oh, I hate that stuff, I don't listen to it, whatever. And the code for come get her is Smells Like Teen Spirit, which I thought was just funny because it's a little nod to Nirvana. So.
Do you know why it's called Smells Like Teen Spirit?
There was a deodorant called Teen Spirit.
A perfume.
A perfume, or no, I think it was a deodorant.
Was it?
I beat you.
Well, look that up. We don't really know.
I know. I'm pretty sure.
And Josie and the Pussycats, they were using subliminal messaging, right?
Yeah.
But you don't actually, what they're doing now, it's like they don't even need to put subliminal messaging in. They just need to make all the programs and everything as stupid as possible and frame things in a certain way. Did you
notice, by the way, can I just say how Ebola was a huge deal and now it's just gone? Where did it go?
Well, it could still be around, but the mainstream media don't care anymore.
No, but did that make you think it was a distraction?
I think
what else was happening?
Well, do you know why? I don't know much about Ebola, right? I'm not going to claim I do, right? But it just seems we get all this stuff that there's SARS and SARS might kill you, and then it fizzles out and there's bird flu, swine flu, mad cow disease.
We had foot and mouth for a long time. It was they had to get rid of a lot. They killed a lot of farm animals.
It just seems they come around every now and then. What's funny is you sometimes read articles and they go, well, this is dangerous because look at how many of the people the Spanish flu killed.
Yeah, but they had horrible conditions.
Hold on, that was a completely different time. There was no level of medical science there that there is now. It's just
I know.
To compare them,
we've talked about it before, we have, I know. Now, as I mentioned before, Dan is not a holiday man.
No.
You're not a fan of any kind of holiday time, especially this time of year.
Maybe it's just my anarchist sensibilities. I don't want to be told when to enjoy a day.
You're like Eeyore. You've got this little cloud above you. It's so cute.
Oh, is that why it's wet over here all the time?
It's a little cloud above your head. No, I mean I can understand. We recently had something. I understand in the States they have something known as Black Friday. And we recently had it here. And I know, Dan, you had some.
For fuck's sake. I had to.
They had a 50
inch supermarkets because people were, and call the police after half an hour because people were fighting with each other. How are you mental? But do you know what then happens? You got all these, I know a lot of Christians and they go, well, you know what? Consumerism is taking over our Christian holiday.
And you go, hold
on, right. It was originally a pagan holiday, it was like a winter pagan holiday.
Yeah.
Right? And then the Christians, they imposed all their holidays on top of, pre-existing holidays. I mean, we all know that. That's, it's not some weird
the spring equinox, that's Easter, right?
Easter, yeah. And then you had Samhain, what was Halloween we were talking about, and then they put All Saints' Day the next day.
And this is the winter solstice?
Equinox.
The winter equinox, sorry.
I don't know.
I think it's one of the two. I'm going to look it up because that's around about Christmas time.
Sometimes I get confused between the two. But
I know, I have to say, I'm not an expert on it, so.
But what they do is they then say, consumerism is taking over Christmas because we're celebrating the birth of our Lord. Fair enough, you might want to celebrate it. There's debate whether Jesus existed or not. I don't think that invalidates anything in the New Testament, whether he was real or not, or whether it was based on a bunch of people. But you should
read the Old Testament, man.
Yeah,
some stuff in there.
Nuts.
Crazy. Have you seen that?
But the whole point here is that they're moaning about something else hijacking something when they hijacked something in the first place. Do you know what I mean? That's just how I think about it, And I mean, it's like, who actually cares? It's like, I see people go out and buy pointless gifts that just get thrown in the bin. I mean, can you imagine if they donated all that money to charity?
And there's a certain level of selfishness that comes with Christmas. Because anybody who's ever bought a gift for anyone who's really, really enjoyed it will know that seeing someone you love open a gift that you have taken the time to pick for them and seeing them go, oh my God, I love it. It's a nice feeling. It's a bit of a selfish act. I'm saying, and I'm guilty of it. I am.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing to get together with people.
The thing I don't like is when people say this is capitalism. This is capitalism. No, this isn't. This is complete and utter consumerism. So this isn't capitalism. Yes.
Heard it called crapitalism.
Crapitalism, crony capitalism.
Yeah.
This isn't it. I mean, they were offering a 50-inch television. I think it was Tesco. I'll have to look it up. 50-inch TV for £250. I mean, that's I don't understand that I don't even understand how they're selling it at that, how they could.
Well, I used to work for a supermarket, right?
You did?
And they used to, I remember I was talking to one of the managers one time, and he told me they used to do a lot of deals. Yeah. And even though the deal would lose them money, it would be so big as to bring more people into the shop, so they would actually end up being up at the end of it. But like you're saying, it's like we're in this kind of, this all ties in actually, because we were talking about culture and then we're talking about capitalism or corporatism, and it all fits in because, say, you get this garbage culture, this garbage mainstream culture that comes out. It's
pronounced garbage.
Garbage. This garbage mainstream culture that comes out, right? And then it spawns, you know, like, just take a blockbuster film, right, that's got no heart, no soul, just the same kind of format.
I feel like we're complaining a lot.
We are complaining a lot.
This is quite dark. No, we should keep going with it. It's just, it's good to point that out, that there's some good stuff coming. Yeah. We do have positive stories. I just want to make that clear.
I just found the whole Black Friday thing just to be so bizarre to me. It was just so alien.
Yeah, bringing it back to Black Friday, it was incredibly alien. I think you should promote small businesses as much as you possibly can afford to.
Why were they all fighting? What's their fight?
Because somebody had a telly and you wanted the telly, so you punch the person so you can get the telly.
See, that's just...
That's basically what it is. I know it's really, really sad, but no, we want to
bring the non-aggression principle into this, but...
Oh, dude, that would be the cherry on the libertarian cupcake of this show. And now, for the non-aggression principle portion of the show.
Now for 15 minutes on the non-aggression...
Now for 10 minutes of another dude talking about the non-aggression principle. Dan, go. Okay, right, it's not happening. It's not happening.
No. Censored.
We're not doing it. I'm gonna get a censor button.
And we don't want to do it either, because the non-aggression principle is very simple.
It's incredibly simple. Keep your mitts to yourself.
As Walter Block says.
He did. Drinking game.
I
feel I should probably point out that neither of us are drinking right now. People might think we're actually taking the shots.
The show might be more interesting if we were hammered.
No, the show would stop because
it would probably disintegrate into madness.
We would both be like asleep on the table, and the tape would run and run and run.
And we'd just be passed out.
Yeah, so let's not...
You said the tape?
The tape, as if this is like an old-timey thing. We're doing this through a mixer. So, yeah.
My tape reel is running out.
My tape reel is running out. You might notice Dan and I like to do a really weird old-timey voice. I don't really know what kind of voice it is.
We had an idea and we thought it would be hilarious. There's an alley near our house and we thought it would be hilarious if we dressed in like clothes from the early 1900s and we have this big old trunk.
And we were gonna like, my idea is to like dress up in old timey stuff. I think I read this somewhere, but I don't know. We have this really old trunk from the olden days. I don't know.
I think it's early 1900s.
I would say so. It's a big trunk I got online, and we were like gonna go out of the alley and go, "Excuse me, sir, what year is it?" And then someone would go, "It's 2014." I go, "It worked. My time machine works," and then just fuck off back down the alley.
Like, run away.
Would you not want to like? We should do that to someone. We could just start a Trigger Happy type TV show. Anybody who's not familiar with Trigger Happy TV.
But then the problem is, like,
get familiar.
We wouldn't be able to keep a straight face.
I could practice if we practiced it. Dan, you need to put some work into this. This kind of thing doesn't just happen.
It doesn't just happen.
This isn't a game, Dan. You have to plan these things. Anyway, I don't know. It's too silly. We've been getting a lot of interesting emails lately, which has been incredibly, incredibly nice. And it's been really cool connecting. I always say this, but it's really, really cool connecting with people all over the world.
Well, absolutely, you know. People have a similar mind.
I love it. And I know we've been doing a lot of this sort of, just sort of talking, kind of social commentary shows. But the interviews are coming back.
They are coming back. They're coming back with a vengeance.
Well, not much of a vengeance. That makes it sound bad.
Now, I want to make a point about an interview that's coming this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And because I'm going to put it up and everyone's going to be like, what? Right, okay.
All 6 of you are going to be horrified.
Right, so it'll be midweek.
Yeah.
All going well.
Yeah.
And it'll be Daniel Updike. Now, Daniel Updike hosts Northern Runes Radio.
He's
Canadian. And He follows a kind of belief system called Osatru.
Yeah.
And Osatru is basically people who want to go back to the sort of Germanic, Norse, Celtic, sort of pre-European, pre-Christian sort of Northern European religion.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people practice that. Now, just to put this in, because some people might be like, well, what's that got to do with libertarianism, right? If we sat here and talked about the non-aggression principle and property, right? I know we bring them up all the time, but see if we just talked about it, you'd get bored.
We like to take things from a libertarian point of view.
Things that interest us.
Yes.
And not that we're Osatruers or planning to be, but it's the same. We interviewed Lucien Greaves from the Satanic Temple.
Yeah.
And that actually ended up being an interesting conversation about freedom of religion.
It is an interesting subject, and it just goes to I just want to say officially the views of our guests do not necessarily reflect the views of the Greening Out podcast.
No, absolutely not, but that's the thing, but we don't censor them.
No, I would never censor anyone.
Make your mind up, man. It's not up to us to tell you what to think.
Yeah, so that interview is coming up, and for some people it will be controversial, and we're not saying that I'm not saying I agree with everything that's going to be talked about.
I just thought it was worth saying.
It's probably worth saying, yeah.
Yeah, just in case you think, well, what's this got to do with libertarianism? If you'll notice, we take a libertarian view on many different subjects because, you know, there's so much going on and there's so many interesting things in the world. You know, that's why we talk about different stuff in this podcast. We don't just constantly go, oh, this is what's wrong with government today.
Except for tonight when that's what we did.
Not all the time. We had some fun chatting.
We did. We had good banter. No, it's definitely fun. And you know what? If we were all the same, it would be incredibly boring.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep. We're into, because libertarianism is considered like an alternative political philosophy.
At the moment it is, yeah.
Yeah, but especially in this country, you know, like.
Oh, yeah, here. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Well, I suppose to an extent in America as well, because it's not like mainstream and like in places like Canada and stuff, you know, and the other places I know about libertarians.
Well, Canada's obviously more socialist, you know, in its
ways. Yeah, but they do have a libertarian party.
I know, which is cool.
But yeah, that's the thing. That's the point. But like, we want to explore different philosophies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just political, but also like religious, spiritual. You know, all different kinds of philosophies, and we look at everything through our own libertarian lens. Yeah. So that's just a kind of warning or a heads up.
So
or it might even make you interested to hear what Daniel's got to say.
Who knows?
Northern Runes Radio is an interesting show. I've listened to it myself.
I'm not too familiar with it. I have read up on the Osatru stuff. So it'll be an interesting interview. So I'm pretty excited about that one.
Absolutely.
So for more libertarian podcast writings and news, you can visit greeningoutpodcast.co.uk.
Yeah, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you and good night.